I was tagged in these. This is really cool. It had a part 1 and a part 2, so I duetted both of them, and then I'm gonna put them all together in one video for you. So cool.
I didn't think I believed in ghosts until something has happened that I've experienced that I cannot explain. Okay, story time. I've just got back from my 3rd trip to Egypt, and in Egypt there is a statue that is off limits to the general public. She is locked, and you have to pay a lot of special permission money for entry into this private temple where this statue is. So this is the statue of the goddess Sekmet. She is locked in a temple with pretty much pitch black with a tiny hole in the ceiling that allows a little bit of sunlight to come through. That is the only light source. That is the only electrical anything in the building. So long story short, when I first met Sekmet last year, when I entered the temple, some creepy stuff started to happen. I've done a whole YouTube video documenting exactly what went down with the whole group of us. However, in a nutshell, when I walked into the room, into the chamber, I felt like somebody had cattle prod the back of my neck. I had such a huge electrical surge through my body that the hair on my legs and arms and everywhere was standing on end, and I got like instant pins and needles through my body, which I'd never experienced before. So since last year, one of the members of the tour had the funding to send back equipment to test for electromagnetic activity. And turns out, yeah, the statue is emitting large amounts of electromagnetic energy. Nowhere else in the room, just the statue. And like I said before, there is no electrical equipment in the building. There is nothing. A lot of places in Egypt have put modern lighting in for the tourists, but this is not a tourist area. It doesn't have anything of that kind. This is the statue. Okay, now here's where stuff gets really weird. Not only were we all experiencing like physical anomalies entering the temple with the statue in, but our cameras and electrical equipment were also freaking out. For example, this photo was taken on an iPhone, and when they attempted to take a photo of the statue with a flash, this is what happened. The screen completely whited out. Now, this is only supposed to happen if you literally shine like a flood lamp torch into an iPhone camera. So these two photos were taken milliseconds apart, one with a flash, one without. The one with the flash went crazy, and the one without was able to capture a photo. Now, I noticed afterwards, if you look at the geotag of the two photos taken milliseconds apart, they have completely different geotags. All of the photos that were able to complete have Karnak Temple as the geotag, and the weird one that went crazy, geotagged to the Nile. Now, it wasn't just the iPhone cameras that were freaking out. This photo is from a professional photographer's camera, and I'm gonna have to do a part 2 because wait until you see what came out on the professional photographer's camera. I cannot explain it. Weird stuff that happens around the Sekmet statue in Egypt. This is part 2 of me trying to explain the weird anomalies that happen when I visited a out-of-bounds statue in Egypt, because not only was there some pretty visceral, weird experiences, but also our cameras kept freaking out, and wait till you see the pictures. So where was I? This is a professional photograph done by a photographer who had his camera that he's had since he was 16 years old. And this camera is particularly good at taking very clear photos in low light conditions. He absolutely freaked out when he discovered that he could not focus his camera on this statue, and this weird like double exposed photo really baffled him, and he sent this photo off to his team back in Saudi Arabia to say, is there an issue with the camera? Is this a double exposed photograph of like two photos over another? Is his camera broken? What's going on? So the camera forensic people got back to him and said, no, this photo is not motion blur and it is not double exposed. This is some weird, this is what the camera captured when it was trying to focus on the statue and couldn't. For reference, here is a photo taken in another similar chamber with similar lighting. Same camera in the same temple complex, similar lighting thing. This is the kind of photo that you should be able to take, and the other one was his camera freaking out. Now, for reference, this is a straight-on photo of Sekmet, right? Here it is. Here she is. It's very, very low light. The only light source is a tiny hole in the temple ceiling, which gives us a little bit of sunlight. Okay, so the photos before were taken on my last tour in September 2022. This photo was taken this week on the most recent tour, also taken by a professional photographer with his camera. Now, at first, I didn't notice anything wrong with this photo. right? It's just a person who's walking in front of the statue and it's got a bit blurry. Except that's not a person. The man took a photo of the statue with nobody in the room. This is not a person. This is nobody on the tour. Okay, here is an enhanced image of the photograph before, and you can see that this is not like a solid or this was not a human that was in the room. Nobody on the tour was wearing a hat. Nobody was wearing a kind of coat like that. This is not a reflection of anybody. It's not a reflection of the statue, because I don't see how that matches or would even do that. Oh, can someone explain what is going on? Now, I didn't believe in ghosts. I've never personally experienced like a ghostly supernatural experience, so I had no frame of reference. However, one of the Egyptologists that was on the group, when she saw this photo, she pointed out that this weird person here looks a hell of a lot like this Egyptian dude. Like, it's the same clothes, it's the same hat. What?